Hello, my name is Dr. Dawn Edge. I'm an academic researcher at the University of Manchester and I read the Nubian Times. It's your source for diverse news. I work at the University of Manchester and I do research into mental health with a particular focus on the mental health inequalities, so specifically around ethnic minority mental health and also things like offender health. I also have another role at the university where I'm the university's academic lead for equality, diversity and inclusion. Oh my goodness, I went in 2005. Yeah, that's a long time, right? So I've been there for 11 years at Manchester. So, a lot of my research is actually about people of Caribbean descent. And the reason for that is that years ago I was co-opted onto the board of trustees of African and Caribbean mental health services. And in that work found out about the state of black mental health in African and Caribbean. And way back in the 80s, African and Caribbean mental health services were set up as a direct result of the realisation that the quality of care that was being delivered to people in former mental health services were really poor. And they were not fit for purpose in terms of not having any cultural sensitivity, not having any cultural awareness, and that people were having a generally tough time in those services. And so some people within Manchester Strategic Health Authority, the Regional Health Authority then, and the Manchester Mental Health Trust as it then later became, got together and set up this organisation. That's the history of it. So it's been a long time, so we've known, there's been research from back in the 60s showing that people of Caribbean descent have a much higher rate of diagnosis with schizophrenia. Now if you note, I say I have a higher rate of diagnosis. I'm not saying there's a higher rate of illness, I'm saying there's a higher rate of diagnosis, and there's a difference. Depending on who you read and what kind of measures we use to come up with a diagnosis, that can vary anything between two times the rate or 16 times the rate of white British people. The most recent large-scale study found that, particularly for schizophrenia, if you're of Caribbean origin, your risk of being diagnosed with schizophrenia is about 9 times that of a white British person, and if you're African, a black African, it's about 6 times the rate. There are different kinds of schizophrenia, but the narrowly defined schizophrenia is about 9 times. We don't quite know why that is, so there are some theories. Things to do with migration, we know from studies in Scandinavia that people who live in urban environments have a higher rates of diagnosis and a range of other things, but it doesn't explain the whole picture, because certainly there isn't the 9 times the rate if you go back to the Caribbean, even in communities where there's higher levels of deprivation and urbanicity.